Hello and welcome to Ula Tea Leaf Readings. My name is Lenor, and tonight I'm going to be reading your tea leaves. This is a horoscope for Pisces, if Pisces is your solar, lunar, ascendant / rising sign. I couldn't think. I was like, wait a second. That's what happens when I'm doing the intro and I start to think about something else. It's like pure ADHD brain. Sorry. I'm going to keep it in though. Yes, if it's your ascendant / rising sign, then you're in the right place. All right, Pisces, let's get started. And so, yes, we have the Queen of Discs. I always think of this as, like Mother Earth. Immediately, I'm just like, okay, here we go. We know what we're doing. This is who kind of runs it all, right? And I'm not saying that just because I'm a Virgo. But when we see this card, I know that your life is together, right? Or you're in the process of getting it together. But it's not a sense of like just kind of letting things go, letting things happen, letting, things going into disrepair, or you're not showing up to work on time, or, no. The Queen of Discs, she is all about running game, right? She is on point. She knows what she's doing. Not only that, she's completely immersed in the world, right? She is intuitive. She is like, if it is a simulation, right? She is plugged into the whole thing, right? From the bottom to the top. She is, maybe not the architect, but pretty dang close. She knows how everything works. So, anyways, that was a long intro. You can tell I'm passionate about this card. And we're going to go ahead. I'm just going to... All right, and we'll see what these tea leaves have to say. Okay. And so I want to say thank you for coming and, clicking on the reading, right? I don't know if you've seen tea leaf readings before. If this is your first one, welcome. It's definitely a really exciting, interesting, strange at times divination practice. And if you're returning, if you're really familiar with tea leaf readings, thank you for choosing to come back. Welcome back. It is my pleasure to have you here. Okay, now let's get to the reading. Okay. So, it looks like, I'm just taking a little sip of my drink here. We have the Hierophant over here. You can see seated. Here's the head. Wearing maybe like the mask of an animal, or maybe this is a humanoid, animal-headed. If you can think of like the Egypto deities, this one kind of looks like it either has the head of maybe a dog, or it could, I'm going to go with dog, because really it looks like they have their hand up and there's like a smaller little, like I'm almost thinking of like a puppet. They're holding like a puppet of a dog that matches their head. But it would be maybe something more like an honorary piece, like a little statue, an icon, some kind of votive type of, statue, like these you can see on the table here. And then we have a person standing as if they have come to, hold court with this, elevated being. And you can see in the seated position, we can imagine probably sitting on some kind of chair. So we would call this maybe enthroned, right? Now you maybe are thinking, That's just kings and queens, Lenor, or emperors, empresses. Yeah, but also in this case, we have the high priest, right? The most elevated within the temple, within the cultists, right? And so we also have, it looks like I'm looking at this as like a crescent right there. We have the owl at their feet. You can see, look at how detailed that kind of looks right there. Here's the body, here's the head. Kind of almost looks like it's gazing this way, like its head is turned over to look this way. Now behind we have another seated person. This would be the head. This is the body. They're holding a cup, right? Looks like a chalice. Here is the bottom where the legs would be. And interestingly, the contrast, right? Darker up here and then kind of this white. You can almost imagine like these white flowing pants or maybe some kind of skirt or robe or something like that. So it really feels to me like you are at a point in your life where you're looking for direction, right? And maybe some advice. But more than that, I feel like it's like you're wanting permission. It's not permission anybody earthly could give you, right? Like your mom, it doesn't matter what she thinks, right? Your spouse, it doesn't matter what they think, you know? I don't know, maybe you have a therapist or some kind of advisor, a mentor or something like this, and none of their opinions matter as far as your interior work. Okay, so I feel like you kind of continually look for somebody to agree with you or to kind of, you know, maybe like gas you up or just simply say like, that's great. Good job. Yeah, I think you should change jobs. Yes, I think you should, you know, separate from your spouse if that's what's going to be helpful for you. You know, we want these kinds of confirmations and support from people, but often when we get them, it doesn't hit like we think it's going to, right? You're still feeling like, I don't know, you know? And then you have the talk with yourself and you start to think, you know, what are the pros and cons? Let me really look at this. Let me figure this out. And yet you still feel like you don't know which way to go. So I really feel you turning towards your faith here. Now, it doesn't have to be within a religious system. This could be your spiritual practice. This could be, you know, the guardian angel that you talk to every night. This could be, you know, really an aspect of self or yes, the divine. You know, maybe it is. Maybe you need to go and attend your, I was going to say mass. I know that's very singular path there. But, you know, whatever it is, going back to your church community, your mosque, your temple, you know, and if it's not an Abrahamic religion, right, whatever religion, also, right, you might be a solitary practitioner, but maybe it is that you need to go to, you know, the sacred grove that you like to meditate in, or the little pond that you like to sit next to and talk, you know, just talk things out. And so I really do. I feel like this is a time of great introspection. And I feel like you will come to some deep understandings about where you really need to be going, right? And ultimately in the cosmic picture, it doesn't matter what we pick or where we go, right? It's so infinite, it doesn't even, you know, compute. But at the same time, it is the most important thing, because you are the one experiencing your life and it affects you. So I feel like this is a time I can almost imagine in my head. I'm thinking like coming into this sacred space, and that can be a state of mind, right? It can be like the release of anxiety, being able to sit quietly, being able to be introspective, to contemplate, right? Or it could be, like I said, literally going into a place and a church or mosque or, whatever. Now, with the moon, I feel like this is a very emotional experience. I feel like you spent a lot of time in your life having to take care of yourself, probably from a pretty young age, relatively, right? I get this impression that it's kind of like I've raised myself. Maybe even like you raised your younger siblings or whatever it was. But I feel like from a young age, you've had to be a pretty serious person. You've had to figure things out and just, do your best to get it done. And I think that, to stop and consider not only asking for somebody's advice or being open to receiving some kind of, guidance. I think that really it's hard for you, right? Because you've always had to do it yourself. And so it makes sense that this probably isn't a person that you're looking for guidance with, but I do feel like you are very driven to create that connection with the divine so that you can have this open dialogue, right? So when you do make appeals for guidance, it doesn't feel like, some very foreign thing that you're doing. No, you're already in the practice of taking quiet moments to reflect, to, really take inventory, to, go ahead and just work it through mentally, right? And then to formulate kind of, well, what do I need from the universe, right? What would be beneficial to me here, or this situation? And listen, that's not to say that we should only be praying for what we need, or making appeals for the things that we want from the universe, but sometimes, yeah, we do. We need to have that conversation. So I feel like this is a time where it's like if you think about a door. I'm sorry. I keep having to take drinks. Let me just tell you really quick. I already recorded my readings earlier in the day and the sound did not work. So it is now it's late at night and I thought, well, maybe I'll just have some coffee to get myself awake again so I can do my readings. And now I just feel like my mouth is really dry. I just need drinking as much water as I can. But anyway, so if you think about it as like a door, right? We have this like classic idea of like like an apartment or a house or whatever, and there's the wood door, and they don't just have like one deadbolt and a lock. They have like 15 deadbolts, and those ones that have the little chain and, like a board that comes down and holds the door from being opened. And so I see you right now in this time slowly unlocking those doors, right? And where does it lead? I think that this is really you going through a time in your life where you're realizing it's not always about what happens in the physical world, right? Even though we have the Queen of Discs, and she rules over the Malkuthian kingdom that is our physical world, our waking life. But it doesn't all take place there. I mean, arguably, we could say very little of it takes place in the physical world, right? And so I see you really deciding, possibly, thinking about it, considering it, to open yourself up, to walking through that door, to going into those interior places and knowing the beloved. That is the divine. That is God, Goddess, ruler of the cosmos, whatever it is, your guardian angel, your conscience, whatever you call it, however you experience it, right? And so I feel like this is it. This is a wonderful, wonderful time for you. I mean, it's scary. It's hard because, listen, this is the thing about the spiritual path, is that there's not always quantifiable evidence, right? A lot of it is deciding. I'm gonna trust in this feeling. I'm gonna trust in this system, or these beliefs, these tenets, this icon, this deity, this personality, whatever it is, right? I'm going to decide to trust in it. And that's not easy. And to continue down that path. And sometimes it doesn't seem like anything's happening. I'm just going through these motions. I'm trying to do whatever I can to really get plugged in and feel a part of the whole thing. And yet it takes time. Not everybody has that grand revelation immediately. So I really think it's amazing and beautiful and wonderful that you have decided to stay the course and you continue to invest yourself and your time into exploring this place of spirit. All right, now I want to see if there's anything a little more practical. Although I'm sure if you weren't into that part of the reading, you're already gone. They're probably already gone. We have a dog here. You can see the ears. Here is the nose, the eyes, and it's kind of looking off to this direction. Immediately, I thought of something like a husky, or some kind of dog that has kind of the poofy around the face or the long hair. And it feels like, I'm looking, I see the name like Ernie or Earl. I don't know if that's the dog's name, but this is down here. And what's going on up here? I almost wonder if this dog, who, by the way, I think you love dearly, dearly, dearly. And I see even in the eye over here, it looks like a little house. It's like you cannot wait to get home from work or when you're gone or whatever, because you want to go see your pupper, right? Or maybe this is an animal that you grew up with, or it might be somebody that you're going to meet in the future here. But whatever it is, this dog, or I know, you might say, I'm not a dog person, I have cats, or I don't like animals, or, whatever. The dog also can represent like a good friend, somebody who is loyal. That's the big thing. Unwavering loyalty. Now, up here, though, we have, it looks like a skull, okay? And you can see the eyes and the nose, and it's kind of gazing down this way. And so to me, it almost kind of feels like it almost kind of honestly feels like somebody tried to take the dog. Now we have the dog on a leash right here. And we have a person over here holding a cup again. Did we talk about that earlier? Yes, the cup. And so we have again that this is the other priest, but also holding the dog. We have the skull. Let's see right here. All right. We have the two people talking, pointing at the skull. So I feel like it really, to me, it seems like maybe you were in a relationship and you both loved the dog, or you were with somebody who out of spite really fought to keep this dog, cat, ferret, whatever it is. And the battle, you know, for custody and to be reasonable here. I think that was the biggest heartbreak of the whole situation, you know. And, you know, but I think most people would say, well, divorce is terrible, and, you know, and breaking up the family, or trying to figure out like all the details and the financials and, you know, whatever. Of course, these are all really, really difficult, emotional, consuming. It just feels like, you know, oppressive, consuming weight. And yet somehow, if there are animals involved, especially, it can be so gut-wrenching to see people fight over, or to be fighting with somebody who you love, right? You loved, or you were in love with them at one point. They're willing to take a living being and disregard its well-being just to get back at you. And I feel like it was like a small death in your life, coming to the realization that somebody could be so terrible, right? And I'm just thinking, like, how awful. So I feel like for you, maybe this is about the dog or the animal. Maybe something has come up where you have an anniversary, or, you know, you just are really like, I wish I was home with my, you know, with my baby. And yeah, it just seems like this, like a fireball. That's what it feels like in the back of your mind. Whenever you start to think about this, it just absolutely feels so much like just the most devastating heartache, but at the same time, rage, anger. And so I'm almost wondering if this is being shown to me to kind of point out, and we have that person pointing, how when we carry these feelings, when especially the anger, oh, it's like it consumes you from the inside out, right? So you have to find a place to put it. And I kind of feel like this is like part of, there might be a blockage here. This might be something that needs to be worked out, you know, processed. Now, that's not to say that at times you won't be angry again, or if you really think about it, or somebody brings it up, or you go through a situation that kind of reminds you of this period that you went through already. All of that can return, right? But it's all about like, how fast can we let it go? Can we just let it float on by, right? And so I think that this is part of it, okay? Getting to that core place. And I think it's not even about just having the animal. It's about, you know, maybe some kind of an abandonment, having, you know, just that feeling of like, you are not going to take something that I love, right? You are not going to tread upon my heart, and you're absolutely not going to affect anybody else, including the animals, because of like whatever's going on with you, right? Really putting the foot down. And, you know, I feel like I don't know. Every time I get close to it, I understand. I mean, I've not been in that situation exactly, but it doesn't matter what the details are. You know, we've all been through an awful breakup, or at least most of us have, right? And the betrayal, maybe that's the word. There's just a betrayal that happens when you are splitting up. Not every time, right? But sometimes. Sometimes. And it really, I think it does. It's like it extinguishes something within you. Some little thing. And so I feel like this is something to be worked on. And that's why it's being brought up. Now we have the number 71. 71. And we have the letters I-L. We also have, it looks like somebody standing and looking at the sky. We also have a person right here who is sitting. You can see sitting and kind of looking up. So I feel like as you are coming into this place where you're really focused on your faith and your spirituality and your relationship with the divine and the belovedness of this all, so are you also, right? You're a good multitasker, aren't you? Looking at your goals, right? And that's what the star card, the star archetype is all about. The goals in our life, right? Our dreams. And so I feel like maybe there has been this process of acceptance that where your life is and where you want to go has maybe changed a little bit from when you were younger. You've been through some ordeals. You've lived some life, and now what you thought you wanted maybe is not the same as what you want now. And coming to terms with that, right? And I feel like just even allowing yourself to realize, like, maybe some of the stuff that I used to want, you know, whatever it is, you might have been young and naive or idealistic or, you know, just whatever. And allowing yourself to let go of some of that, it creates room. So much room for us to reimagine, you know, to work off of the data, the information that we have gathered through our experience, and make a wise decision about how we go forward. And so I really feel like all of the stuff going on right now for you, it's so much about growing up I mean, that's the big thing, just growing up. Now, that doesn't mean like you're losing your, you know, your childlike wonder or anything like that. But I feel like actively working in your favor, right? Your wellness, the wholeness of your being, individuation, right? And so that's where I feel like we're at right now. All right. Oh, I almost said Scorpio. No, no, no. All right, Pisces. Pisces. Let's do 3 lucky numbers. Okay, we have number 11. I'm trying not to do it too hard because it goes flying. Okay, number 11, number 10. Number 10. Ooh. 53. Beautiful. 11, 10, 53. And we're going to go ahead. We're going to flip through here. We're going to stop where it feels right. And it says, contemplative stream. I am self-aware. I take time to sit by the contemplative stream to notice how I am feeling. I respond to my needs with compassionate awareness. I witness my internal landscape without judgment. I think this is totally, basically, I mean, this says it better than I did about, you know, allowing yourself to go into these places within self, you know, to really lean into it. And so, you know, I think that this is going to be a beautiful awakening for you. You're already there. You're starting to, you know, it's not even like the awakening is happening. That's already happened. It's maybe the refinement or the exploration or the, you know, just learning to hear yourself. That's the big thing. Learning to hear yourself. There's a lot of people that they don't operate off of intuition. They don't trust their own, you know, more often than not, we already know. Whatever it is, we already know. We have a good idea of anyways. And yet we still ignore what we already have, you know, experienced or learned or, you know, just picked up ambiently. And that makes it really hard. If you don't have the ability to be listening to yourself, it makes it really hard to do the spiritual work. So I do. I feel like you're in a place where you absolutely have learned to, and you are learning to not only hear yourself, but to accept that answer, right? Sometimes there's plenty of times where I'm like, should I do this? And it's no. But I'm like, but really, come on. So it's all, you know, we're all in process. All right, Pisces, I want to tell you again, I love you. I love you. I love you. Thank you for spending this time with me. It's always such a pleasure and honor. And so if you, I'm trying to change my intro a little bit and my outro. So, and shorten it a little bit. Well, that's not happening tonight. But yes, if you want to like, subscribe, or leave a comment, I would love to hear from you. And yeah, other than that, I think that's it. I hope you're warm wherever you are, or if you're in the southern hemisphere, it's not too warm. Here it's been so cold. We had one day today where it's like in the 20s and it feels like spring. I had the windows open and everything. So hopefully wherever you are, you're staying warm or staying cool and enjoying yourself. All right. I love you. Good night.